Hello, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. Um, I am here to, basically create a small video trying to help some of my friends who are looking for information around the local Singapore's, mainstream school system. All right. So basically, the idea to create this video came from a recent exercise which I went through for my own son. Right. And we did a lot of research. We evaluated a lot of different content in order to prepare for, getting into the school. So I just thought to put it together and it might be helpful, right? So before we get started, I have just created a quick deck around how we can basically prepare for exam. Now, so basically in Singapore, if you come an international student who is not a PR or a citizen by nature, by birth, or by any other means, he is considered as an international student. So anybody whose parents are on EP pass or long term pass, they're all considered international students. There are two types of schools in Singapore. One is the local mainstream Singapore Education School, which is governed by Ministry of Education Singapore, and then there are a lot of other private schools, or you can say global curriculum based schools, which offer different types of boards like CBSE, ICSE, Cambridge, IB, and all of that, right? So getting into those schools is subject to a particular institution. The school controls how you get admitted, but for local mainstream Singapore school, it's a centralized process. You have to clear an exam called AEIS. That exam happens twice a year. The first exam happens in August, in September timeframe. Results are announced by December or January, and you're supposed to get admitted your in the month of January, which is the starting of the academic year. Anyways, January to December is your academic year in Singapore schools, right? So September is the first exam, which is AEIS. Then there's another supplementary exam which happens in February. Same syllabus, everything is same. It's just that whatever seats are left, possibly they are filled with SAEIS. I'm not really sure how they divide the seats, but both the exams are equal in terms of the content and the testing parameters. And I'd like to share with you how you can prepare for this exam. Right? AEI stands for Admission for International Students. Now, a little bit about the education system, which I understood, from the best of reading I did. Right, Singapore education system is very structured education system. They have multiple primary and secondary schools out there. Right, there's a lot of focus on education by Ministry of Education or Singapore government. A large chunk of their investment goes into education. That shows up in the infrastructure, with the schools qualities and student teacher ratio. So it's a very comprehensive syllabus which they're trying to teach to the kids. And the results of that is the ranking in the PISA test. PISA test is a global program basically for international students where they're tested on maths, science, and English. Singapore by far has been the leader in this space. They are either first or second every year, right? The rest of the countries are also from Southeast Asia or Asia, but Singapore has always stood at the top two or top three, right? And in case of education, when you look at the structure, so you have primary from 1 to 6, then the student has to give a PSLE exam, primary school leaving exam. Based on the results, he will be offered a seat in one of the secondary schools, which is from 7th standard onwards, right? And then there's systems which they call pathways or streams. I'll not go in detail about this, but basically, based on your results on PSLE, you will be offered a particular school which will eventually take you to a junior college, a polytechnic, or a technical institute, right? So very well designed curriculum, right? Now AEIS, as it stands for Admission for International Students, right? The information which you need is all available on Ministry of Education Singapore website, right? So you can simply go to the link. I have put this link in the PPT anyways. You can download this PPT or write to me. I can send it to you. The 2022 exam will be conducted in September. And if you want to know about the dates, basically, I can share with you the dates. Uh, Basically, the applications will be out on 15th of July. Um, it will be there till almost August. The exam dates will be declared in June, and they're expected to be in September end or October. There is an exam fee of $672, which you need to fill online. And once you do that, you will basically, be an applicant. And once you apply for this, right, you have to also send the birth certificate and the passport copy to a particular email address, which is Singapore Examination and Assessment Board. Once you send these details to them, in return, they will send you back the admit card, or you can say the gate pass for the exam date, where you need to go, the location, venue, do's and don'ts, and everything about the exam. So they'll share with you, right? So if you're looking for next year entrance into the local school, you should be applying for AEIS 2021 exam. Um, and you have we're sitting in April end right now, 2021. So you still have good 5-6 months to prepare, right? Now coming to what is this exam all about, right? So basically, it is an exam to get into the primary or the secondary school, right? It is based on the age criteria. For example, a kid who is 6 and a half years old, or anybody who is less than 7 year old, is only eligible for primary one. The moment you touch 7 and 7 plus, you will be eligible for primary 2. Similarly, primary 3, primary 4, and so on, right? Exams, there are two exams, as I mentioned, AEIS and SAEIS. Both are same in terms of the curriculum and content. Both are going to test the students on the English and mathematics, right? And typically they test the student on the previous year's skills. For example, a 7+ year old student who is eligible for primary 2 will be tested on primary 1 content, right? Similarly, a 8+ year student who is eligible for primary 3, the exam is called primary 2 3, but 7 plus are eligible for primary 2 and 8 plus are eligible for primary 3. If you're eligible for primary 3, then you will be tested on primary 2, right? So you need to go and prepare 1 year back syllabus for this exam, right? So the age criteria is mentioned here. It's also available on the link which I mentioned. um, you can go to Ministry of Education and do that. Now what's the result of this, right? Now once you give this exam, the results are out in approximately 40-45 days. And basically they are going to test it on maths and English, both speed and accuracy. And if your son has done relatively well, because I believe they are looking at the top, 2%, 3% student, or they might be having some kind of a cutoff. I'm really not sure how, because this information is not out there in the public domain. What's the selection criteria? Also, it depends on which location you live in, and the school allotted is also in your location area, right? So there are a lot of factors, but effectively, if you are able to make it, you'll be given a really, offer letter from a school, from the Ministry of Education, which you to basically go and show it to the local school, and they will take your admission, right? The kid will be admitted, right? If his AEIS through, he'll be joining from January. If his SAEIS through, he'll be joining in midway, somewhere around May, right? Now, how do you prepare for this test, right? Because all you want to do is enable your kids to have all the information, all the resources, so they can go and prepare, and then leave rest of the things on that particular day, right? This is not the end of the world, as we know, right? So we just need to help them. Basically the syllabus is provided over here. The link I've pasted here, it's also available on the Ministry of Education. You can go and look at the detailed syllabus. But if I have to show you primary 2 and 3 syllabus, this is how it looked like. Primary 2 and 3, which means a kid who is appearing for primary 2 or a primary 3 class, which means it will be tested on primary 1 and 2. As I said, go 1 year back. So basically English, which looks at comprehension, vocabulary, grammar, spelling. The questions are very, very, it's not like a straightforward grammar question. It's basically a paragraph, and they will like to see if you are able to identify a grammar, a grammar kind of a question, right? Which includes past tense, present tense, and things like that. So typically the syllabus is very well covered. You can see that in the previous slide, I've put the link. Maths is very interesting. There are two exams of maths. Part one exam is 25 minutes, 29 questions. So speed is very much required here. This is optical. This is optical answer sheet exam, which means it's a multiple choice. It's a multiple choice question or a single. Basically you have to just go and read the question paper and put a circle around the optical answer sheet. Nothing should be written on the question paper. The second exam is exactly opposite. It is a short answer the question. So it means that they expect you to do the math work, the homework, the rough work on the question paper. They want to see how you articulated the problem, how you arrived to the solution, what was the approach, all of these questions. 17 questions, 40 minutes. So yeah, I mean, you can see the complexity is much higher on the second part. This is how primary 2 and 3 exam is designed. Primary 4 and 5 is slightly more complex, takes longer. The question numbers are more, and it gets complicated as we move forward, up the ladder, right? Details you can always find on Ministry of Education site. So how do we prepare for this exam? If I have to summarize this, basically, you can look at going to one of the bookstores. Popular bookstore is where I went, but you can go to anywhere. They have an aisle of primary one, primary two, primary three, and so on. So if you go to primary one aisle, you can see maths books, maths one, maths two, English one, English two, and there are various publishers. They have all different kinds of books just for primary one. I was surprised to see that. So a lot of information available. You can go and pick up one of these books to understand what is the syllabus, what are they trying to teach in primary one for preparing for primary two exam. Remember that. There are a lot of practice books available on the same bookstore, which essentially have the question banks, or you can say the question papers from previous exams. It may or may not be AEIS, but still gives you a very good understanding of what to expect in this exam, right? Some people go for tuitions, which can really help if you have time, because there are AEIS or SAEIS specialized tuition classes. They are online, they're in person at home, they're in person in the classroom. They focus only on AEIS and what is asked in AEIS. They make them practice, they make the kids practice that way. Very, very helpful. If you have time, you should look at that. Um, what I opted for was an online, AEIS preparation app. I found this way later, just 1 week before the exam. It's aci.com. Very, very helpful again, because here I could find unlimited source of mock papers, concepts, and super books, right? If you need any more information, you can reach out to me. My email address is mentioned there. But if I have to quickly show you how acer looks like, this is how when you log in, there are super books available, which means that if you go to maths 1 level 1, it will tell you about concepts about measurements, um, you know um, the time, distance. All these are chapters in it, which basically explains the kids in a very innovative way how to solve and understand these problems. So the concepts are taken care. And then there are mock exams where you can go and give English, maths 1 and maths 2, all three exams. They're online, they can download it. You can treat it like a physical exam by taking a printout and marking it with a stopwatch. There's all different options available. But the good thing I like is it's very intuitive. The more mock papers you do, it will start giving you an average score, and it will show you how gradually your average score is increasing with practice. So the best finish line would be when you're already in your 90s from this mock exam average. That means that you have solved multiple papers and you're good to go, right? uh, that's pretty much about it. So I would say go to Ministry of Education website, look out for the link to download and apply for the exam. Once you have applied, send the details to the examination board. They'll send you the admit card. Start preparing with either tuitions, look at some online portal, buy some books, or read a lot of online content which is available. um, try to dedicate at least 1 hour every day to go through this, because it could be a little overwhelming for a kid who is already doing his regular schooling plus this preparation, right? But this is something which any kid can basically crack, or I would say pass this exam, if he is able to do a consistent practice. That's it. So all the best to all of you. Thank you so much. Hope the video was useful.